feeling the nostalgia when you look at me.
Good day everyone. So today we'll be talking about why be concerned about the security of our computer. So when we talk about the security of our computer, it is really important for us to protect or to secure our computer because it can causes many malfunctions in our computer, like for example the loss of data or the loss of the information that we gathered. Why is computer security important? Computer security is important because it keeps your information protected. Like for example, the data that you've gathered, it may protect the loss of the data and the information that you've collected, so your computer will function well. It is also important for your computer's overall health. Proper computer security helps prevent viruses and malware. Like for example, the malfunctions of the computer sometimes is caused by the viruses that we get from the application that is not very helpful for our computers. Like for example, the viruses from the Chrome that is not really helpful, and the viruses that could lose the data of your computer. Proper computer security helps prevent viruses, which allows programs to run quicker and smoother. So if you have the best security of your computer will function well, and your computer will experience a quicker and smoother function. So let me give you examples of the antiviruses that I had seen online. The Avast Free Antivirus 2021, AVG Free Antivirus 2021. You can download those applications that is very helpful for the welfare of your computer, and it helps your computer to function well. So let's talk about the hardware loss. Hardware loss is a very unfortunate situation that can result in the loss of important data. Like what I've said before, the loss of data is actually the main topic here, the loss of our data that is caused by the not so much secured computer that we have. Our computer will be loose, and the important files of our computer will not be restored again. The loss of data can be influenced by many things, including the power shortage. Like for example, if in your place the electricity is not that good, so your computer will really experience the hardware loss or the malfunction of the hardware, the power shortage. So let's talk about the hardware damage. So the hardware damage is a malfunction within the electronic circuit or electromechanical components, like for example the disk, the tapes, or of a computer system. The hardware damage is sometimes acquired when your hardware is is very old, or it is not functioning well. Like for example the disk, the tapes, the keyboards. We already differentiate the hardware and software. When we talk about the hardware, is the physical part of the computer, and the software is the application that is inside, application that helps or that will tell the computer what to do. That will tell the hardware what to do. Recovery from a hardware failure requires a repair or placement of the offending parts. Yes, like when you have an old mouse, old keyboard, is you really have to replace them because it can cause the hardware damage. Like for example, if your computer is already old, sometimes people, if you can afford, you really have to change the computer because there will be times that it will really malfunction, and that can cause the loss of data. So let's talk about the main cause of hardware failure. So the first one is the power problems. As I've said before, the power problems or the power shortage, the problem with regards to the electricity, like when there is a problem with the circuit lines. When your computer does not receive the proper power it needs to operate, things including power shortage. The next is the user errors, or the errors of the owner itself or the user itself. Opening up your computer and tinkering with all the parts can cause a lot of damages to your computer. If you touch, like for example, the motherboard, you tinkering with all the parts, the inside part of the hardware or the computer itself, if you try to touch, or there will be the damage, it can cause damage of your computer. And sometimes it can cause hardware loss, the loss of the datas, if you, because computer is actually very sensitive, so if you try to disturb its function, it can really cause the malfunction of your computer. So let's talk about the impact of hardware failures. So yes, the loss of data itself is the primary impact to organizations because of a hardware failure. Sometimes the hardware failure is really the main cause of the loss of data. Like for example, if the information that you've gathered will be lost, so the main problem is sometimes the hardware failure. Whether the problem is with the CPU, the hard drive, motherboard, or input and output devices, users are unable to access the data as expected. So if you have the problem with the CPU, if you have the problem with the hard drive or the motherboard, the data is expected to be unable to access. So if you lose the data, sometimes it can be applied also sa computer internet cafe or computer shop. Like for example, they will set that if you shut down your computer, all the data that you've gathered, like for example sa PowerPoints or sa, and also sa Excel, sa Microsoft Word, all the data will be deleted, or you cannot access them anymore if you shut down the computer that you have used in the internet cafe. The loss of data. So let's talk about the system failure. A while ago we talked about the hardware failure. So this time is the system failure. System failure means a breakdown of any system hardware, operating system, or application software which prevents the accomplishment of the system's intended function. So the system failure is the overall failure, whether it is hard drive or the application, or the hard drive or software or hardware. Yes, the system failure means a breakdown of any hardware system or software system. A system failure is probably either with hardware or the system software. It can cause your system to end abnormally. Like for example, like what happened to my computer a while ago. I loses some of the informations, I loses some of the datas from my computer, and I'm really disappointed of what happened. So the system failure, it might be system failure, the hardware failures, or the damage system hardware or software damages. What are effects of system failure? Sometimes the effects of system failure is the missing or corrupted data. When your data is being corrupted, like for example, the outdated or overloaded servers can be problematic for many reasons, not least because of the risk they pose to the data stored. Like yes, if your data will be missing, it does really affect the data that you have gathered. Even an issue is simple as running out of server space can result in a system freezes. Like for example, your drives has no enough memory or no enough space, sometimes your computer your system will really freezes or pause, crashes, or irreparable damages or the loss of data. We can sometimes it leads to the damage of your computer if your computer hangs or freezes. So it is the result of the server space, the lack of space. What are some hardware problems? So let's talk about other some damages or other problems of your computer. Some of the most common PC hardware problems that needs troubleshooting are your computer won't turn on. Yes, if your computer is not functioning well, so from the start you can't turn it on immediately, or there will be the malfunction of turning it on and turning it off. Your computer turns on but still doesn't work. Like, yes, what I've said, it will hang, it will pause, your computer screen freezes, the screen of your computer will freezes. Your computer has insufficient memory, or you have the lack of memory. The Yes, sometimes we use the memory card, the hard drive, the memory card, or the USB drive. You get a CMSO error, and the viruses, like what I've said, the viruses can malfunction your computer. Your operating system is missing, or your hard drive isn't detected. Your operating system is missing, so your data will really lose, and you will really get frustrated by the loss of the data that you've gathered, the projects, the assignments that really needs to pass, and but the malfunction, your computer will malfunction is really very hard. Your hard drive isn't detected. So that will be my topic.
Against hardware loss, hardware damage, and system failure. In hardware loss protection, we have backing up data and programs, storing a copy of files on a storage device to keep them safe. Backup procedures create files that can be used to restore data if the primary storage becomes inaccessible. Next is saving active files frequently is the best way to protect against data loss. Next, viruses are programs written to corrupt data. Backup files and antivirus software help avoid data loss from viruses. Next is firewalls, a combination of software and hardware elements prevent unauthorized access to a computer on a network. Do not leave personal computers and mobile devices unattended. And also, prevent your laptop or mobile devices from getting stolen in the first place. Hardware damage can be accidental or intentional. Hardware damage protection, we have proper hardware care. Don't abuse hardware. Handle it with care. Next, use protective cases as much as possible for protection. Next, remove dust, moisture, static, heat, and etc. Avoid head crash. Stop USB devices before removing. Dili derecho ibot. Use screen projectors, jewel cases, etc. Next is surge suppressors. Protect hardware from damage that can destroy components. Next, an interruptible power supply that provides continuous power to a computer system for a period of time after the power goes off. It also prevents damage and data loss during a power failure. System failure protection. First, maintain your computer. Preventing failure means making sure your computer is clean physically and in its operations. Make sure that there isn't too much dust inside, especially if it will reduce performance and cause overheating. Next, don't overuse your computer. Know your computer's specification and the limits of those specifications. Remember that running idly make your computer takes up at least some of your computer RAM as well as its processing power. Next, don't do anything unusual. If a pop-up shows up asking you to do something that you don't feel comfortable with, don't click on it. Don't install programs you don't fully trust. Let's now proceed to software piracy and digital counterfeiting. Software piracy is the unauthorized copying of computer programs. It occurs when individuals make illegal copies of software to give it to friends. Sellers install unlicensed copies on computers sold to consumers. Businesses or individuals install software on more than the number of computers allowed. Digital counterfeiting is the use of computers or other types of digital equipment to make illegal copies of documents. Examples are currency, checks, collectibles, and other items. It often scanned and printed or color copied.
Protecting against software piracy and digital counterfeiting. What is software piracy? Software piracy is the illegal copying, distributing, sharing, selling, or use of software whether intentional or not. So, software piracy daw is nag-distribute sa mga dili mga owners or gina-share nila ang mga products sa mga dili owners. Software piracy examples include activities such as an end user installing a single-use license on multiple computers, a holiday maker buying a pirated copy of a piece of software in the Far East, or the mass distribution of illegal obtained software. So, how to prevent software piracy? Copyright protection system aren't foolproof. Even when using copyrights and patents content, owners still deal with a lot of problems from software piracy. So, copyright, patents, and user agreements form the legal basis for fighting online piracy. A wide range of tools exist to combat piracy, like tamper-proofing, obfuscation, watermarking, and BRADA case. So copyright, patents, and end-user agreements, it is software can be protected by copyrights and patents. These create a legal basis for business to protect their intellectual property and electronic environment inventions. End user agreements further define what a customer is allowed to do with a piece of software. As the name indicates, purchasers are considered users and not owners. Agreements spell out what people can and can't do with the software. Namely, we cannot copy it illegally or share it with more users than their license allows. Of course, I still do these things, which is where the rest of the anti-piracy techniques come in. So, software piracy daw is the illegal copy distribution or use of software. diba? Na-tackle na to last kaganina is what is software piracy. So, it is such a portable business that has caught the attention of organized crime groups in number of countries. So, mao na siya ang software piracy. And next, digital counterfeiting. And digital counterfeiting is the use of computers or digital equipment to make counterfeit copies or printed resources. Other counterfeit items also include business checks, collectibles, fake identifications, and credit cards. Muna siya ang mga counterfeit na mga items. So, the practice of counterfeiting is illegal in the United States, and offenders could be sentenced to 15 years per offense. The majority of counterfeit currency are produced by gangs, organized crime, and terrorist organization. So, muna siya ang mga majority counterfeit sa kuan at sa mga producers, sa mga gangs, majority gina siya sa mga gangs and terrorists. But also has been seen done so by college students and even high school students. In order to prevent currency counterfeiting, the government has been implementing measures such as changing the currency design every 7 to 10 years. Also, in order to make it easier to track the source of the counterfeit item, the digital imaging equipment, copiers, scanners are equipped that technologies such as printing invisible code that make tracking possible. So, muna siya ang digital counterfeiting. Sugod na siya sa mga gangs and most of gangs and terrorist organization. So, digital watermark use of digital watermarks is incredible popular, and most often people have no idea when something actually has a digital watermark. Digital watermarks are used to identify whether or not a document has been tampered with, protect sensitive material from unauthorized editing, to deter things like counterfeiting and piracy. So same ang watermark is same as lang gyapon siya. Like murag gyapon siya og counterfeiting og piracy. So connected lang gyapon siya. So the process of digital watermarking involves embedding digital information or identifiers into audio, video, and printed materials. So ang digital watermark lang siya is naa siya sa mga audio, video, and printed materials. Unlike sa piracy is business siya. Like ganyan. So, ang digital watermarks, pwede yapon siya sa DRCD. So, next, security trade. One digital counterfeiting prevention tool is security trade. A security trade is a plastic strip that is embedded in USA currency. This strip can only be seen when it is held up to the light or when placed under an ultraviolet light. This feature makes currency hard to duplicate but not impossible. Some counterfeits have been known to have a thin gray line printed on the end of the trade or a varnish at the end. So, Counterfeit, from the word counterfeit, is to imitate something or products are fake replicas of the real product. So, muna siya ang counterfeit.
Hello everyone, my name is James Neil Solomon from Bachelor of Science in Information Technology, Section 1.
Lovejoy and TAGA-OC, BSIT 1C.
Good day, everyone. I'm Claire Joy A. SUBIJANA from BSIT 1.
And our instructor is Sir Danver Palmiano.